Ivan, I'm going to clip this next segment because I still get a lot of questions of this, and
Yep.
I don't even have an answer for it myself. But so I'll use the black sponge on TikTok or something, and I thought sponges were bad for car detailing. So you explain the full description of why with a rinseless wash, the big red or the black sponge is just as safe?
Actually, with a rinseless or with a soap. Uh,
Rinseless.
yeah, but no, but I'm saying both.
Okay.
In both
Yeah.
terms.
In both terms. Okay.
So look at it this way: when people were saying don't use foam, they
Mhm.
were using the foam that got out of the kitchen. Or when O&R first came about in 2002, 2003, people started using grout sponges. And that worked
Just the
okay, but
worst.
yeah, and the grout sponges didn't last. You'd get maybe 10 washes out of it and be disintegrated. That's when I went to the drawing board, spoke with Lake Country, developed it. I wasn't working for Optum at the time. I just wanted a better wash media in my own shops because at the
Yeah.
time I had 26 shops. We're using the rinseless wash, and the mitts I never really liked, especially with a polymer based rinseless. A chenille mitt gets really sort of
Mhm.
slimy feeling,
Mhm.
and then a wool mitt, same deal. It gets slimy. Microfiber towels, they work, but microfiber, as we all know, is designed to grab on and hold on to stuff.
Yep.
Mhm.
And when you're using a microfiber towel, that first 6 inches you're using is great. After that, it's removed what that first 6 inches was, and it's on the surface of the fiber. It doesn't
Yeah.
get absorbed in like the sponge. The other aspect that we have, especially with using a microfiber towel, is now pressure points. And pressure
Mhm.
points are very bad in washing, no matter what you're using. That rinseless video, you were just moving your wash mitt on it. You didn't have your hand inside the wash mitt pressing down. You're just literally gliding it across the surface. And that's what people need to do. Now, with the sponge, it's a lot thicker. So even if you do press a little bit on it, you're not going to get a pressure point. You're going to get that whole sponge area having pressure on it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had 26 shops. I had employees. Employees aren't necessarily always following best practice.
Yep.
So the sponge gave me an extra safety measure. So for 3 or 4 years, before Optimum decided that okay, yeah, the sponge works, and people were liking it, I was selling the sponge, and Dan Williams was selling the sponge in the U.S. And
Nice.
so the sponge predates, the sponge being used for rinseless predates Optimum having it. But
Oh wow.
nonetheless, with that, I wanted to go back to the drawing board because people asked, well, I really love the sponge, but when I put it in soap, it gets funky feeling. So
Sure.
the gold sponge is what came about next. So we had when I was
Right.
working for Optimum, developed the gold sponge, and that's a different type of foam, and you can buy it at McKee's as well. McKee's picked it up because it works both with the soap and the rinseless.
Yeah.
So the gold sponge that's on the market, great sponge, works. But the black sponge, as I said, technology advances, things change. And I'm a student of detailing. I love to learn. A
Yeah.
day without learning for me, you might as well shoot me. It's just that bad of a day. So I'm always researching, I'm always learning, I'm always trying to find what's the not necessarily the latest thing, but how can we improve detailing?
Sure.
And when I was working for Lake Country, they said, "Hey, we have this new foam. They said you want to try it as a rinseless sponge." Of course, I want to try it because when we came up with the big red sponge, David Patterson at the time from Oberk was working at Lake Country in product development,
Mhm.
and he had a big hand in developing the big red sponge because he sent me, I think, 50 different foam samples
Wow.
and said, "Okay, try these." And it came down to the red one at the time. The black, the gold didn't exist at that time.
Mhm.
Then the gold came about, and then the black is like, as far as I'm concerned, the ultimate in rinseless technology is that the ultra black sponge.
Yeah.
Uh, that being said, the DIY sponge, now we have the red for those that miss the red or say that, oh, we can't see the dirt on the sponge. Perfect.
There you go.
Use the red side.
Yeah.
If you want to see the dirt on the sponge, use the red side. If you know that your rinseless is doing the job that it should, and you trust the technology and you trust your technique, you don't need to see the sponge.
Mhm.
Sure.
You could do it in a dark room. it's not necessary. So, so there. That's
Boom.
it in a nutshell.
Knocked
I
off
wanna
the heart.